What's up, guys? Nick here with Overage Syndicate. Excuse me. I need some water. I don't have any. Anyway, I wanted to share this little cartoon with you because it illustrates a very important principle. This cartoon actually comes from a book. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is, right here. This book is called 3 Feet from Gold. Turn Your Obstacles into Opportunities by Sharon Lechter and Greg Reed. Highly recommend this book. Excellent book. Must read for anyone in business or anyone in life for that general. Anyway, this cartoon illustrates the main point of that book. And basically it's that, a lot of us in life, when we set out on a new venture, whether it's in business, maybe it's we're going on a diet, we're trying to lose some weight, we're trying to create some change, right? We're trying to achieve a goal. What happens is we get started, we're excited, we move forward, and then we get hit with obstacles and the struggle comes. And what happens often is most people end up being this guy on the bottom. They quit right before they're about to achieve what they set out to do. There's a great quote out there. What's Tom Bilyeu? Tom Bilyeu. He says, "The struggle is guaranteed, the success is not." And that is a true quote. But here's the thing. If you struggle long enough, eventually you're going to get some sort of result. It may not be the result you're looking for, but you're going to get some result. And that result's going to give you feedback, and then you can adjust accordingly. So I love this cartoon because it illustrates this principle perfectly. And the quote that comes with it. First comes the dream, then comes the struggle, then there's victory. The problem is most people give up during the struggle, never knowing how close they were to victory. The only way you'll fail is if you quit. Never, never, never quit. That's so true. And here's the thing. I've been this guy in the white. Like, I've been that guy. There have been multiple projects that I've taken on where I quit eventually. And I was probably very close to seeing a result, but I quit. I stopped doing it. And so I'm not immune to this. I think we all struggle with this at some point in time. What I think happens, though, is a lot of us end up being this guy on the bottom, but he's never going to know how close he was to this treasure, right? And so I look at this picture and I think, how many of us have been this guy and we were that close to achieving what we wanted? It's kind of freaky to think about, actually. How many times have we ventured onto something new business, a new goal, whatever it is, and we stopped and we quit and we went back to what we knew? But how close were we to achieving what we wanted? We'll never know. And so what does that lead to? Well, at the end of our life, we're going to remember those moments and think back and say, what if? What if I hadn't quit? And what if I had just kept going? What would have happened? Would I have reached the treasure that I was searching for? So I wanted to share this with you because a lot of times we don't recognize how close we are. And from my perspective, obviously I'm teaching people how to do overages and surplus funds. And I have a different perspective because I've traveled this path. I've, you know, gone through the tunnel. Eventually I hit the diamond because I didn't quit. But now I can look and I can see people that are in this state where they're still digging, they're still figuring it out. And I can see when they're this guy. I can see when they are this close to getting success and then they quit and they stop, they turn around and they say this doesn't work. And I can see the mistakes they're making, but either I tell them what to do and they don't follow my advice, or they're just so set on their decision that it doesn't work, and so they give up, and my advice doesn't matter anyway. It wouldn't matter what I say because they've made that decision to quit. I can't help them. But the reason I want to share this with you guys is you need to be aware. You need to be aware of your actions and how close you may be to where you're going. And I would just say, don't be this guy. Don't be the guy on the bottom. Don't be the person that gives up, inches from achieving your dream, whatever that is. Now, here's a caveat to this. Quitting is not always a bad thing. This is something I had to learn, when I left my job as a corrections officer. Here's something I don't talk about because I feel a lot of shame around it. But yeah, maybe it'll help. When I quit my job, there was something else that I had to quit. So when I was working as a corrections officer, I was also a member of the Utah National Guard. I was in artillery, from the beginning, and I was reaching the end of my 6-year contract. And I wasn't quite sure if I was going to quit my job yet and go and pursue real estate. I was kind of in this limbo. And so I was still weighing my options, and I was still trying to better myself, in my career as a corrections officer and also in my military career. And so what I had done is I had applied to become what is called a warrant officer. A warrant officer is just a specialist within the Army. And specifically, I had applied to become an aviation warrant officer, and I had been accepted. So I had transferred units. I was now in an aviation unit. I was going to go to a warrant officer candidate school in Fort Rucker, Alabama. And then once I completed, WOC training, I was going to go to flight school and fly helicopters. And I was going to be an Apache pilot. An Apache is like a gunship. Let me see if I can show a picture so you know what I'm talking about. There we go. So this is an Apache helicopter. It's an attack helicopter. So I was going to go to warrant officer candidate school, and after that, I was going to go to flight school and learn how to fly these. That was the path that I was on. Here's what ended up happening. I think I was 4.5, 5 weeks in to warrant officer candidate training. And I had spoken with my wife. I think I was about 1.5 weeks or 2 weeks away from graduation. the day I the day this happened, we were going to the field, and so we had a week in the field, and then I think the following week was graduation. And after talking to my wife on the phone, we made the decision that I was going to leave the military. Um, that I was going to come home. I wasn't going to renew my contract, and I was going to quit my job, and I was going to go into real estate, and we're going to see if we could make it work. And I feel a lot of shame because I quit. I quit my dream of becoming, I mean, I wouldn't say it was necessarily a dream, but it was definitely a goal I had, to become a helicopter pilot in the Army. And long story short, I submitted my resignation and told them I'm done. I'm leaving. I don't plan on renewing my contract. And there was a lot of backlash, as you can imagine. I actually had to talk face to face with the chief warrant officer for the state of Utah. So imagine talking to kind of like a general, but just a high ranking official. And he didn't understand, and he was pissed, and rightfully so, because that's not something you do in the military. You don't just say you're done. But that's what I did. I just said, hey, I'm not going to go through with the training. I don't plan on renewing my contract. I have less than a year left, and I'm just going to let it go. And that was hard. It was hard going through that and making that decision, because I was always taught in life never to quit. But going back to my caveat, sometimes you have to quit something in order to achieve something greater. And in this case, I quit my job, and I quit that goal of becoming an Army helicopter pilot for another dream, for a dream of owning my own business, for living life on my own terms, for achieving freedom for myself and my family. That was a higher priority dream for me, and so I had to give up another dream in order for the opportunity to achieve the higher dream. So hopefully that makes sense. Don't ever quit, but at the same time, it's okay to let go of some dreams for the pursuit of a higher dream. It's okay to quit if you're quitting something for a higher level. Okay. But also just be aware, just know when you're making that decision, ask yourself, how close are you? I mean, I was a week and a half away from graduating. Like I was inches from my goal. And then I would have been off to flight school. You don't get much closer than that. But I knew deep down that I had to give that up to pursue this other dream that I had. What was scary was the other dream I had, there was no guarantee. It was just an idea, a possibility. I could have played it safe, and I could have just stuck with it, and I still would have gone on to do great things and achieved, that goal, becoming a pilot, and it would have been awesome. But then I would look back and say, what if? What if I had decided to actually go for it? So these are tough decisions that you have to make in life. But hopefully that helps. And just be aware when you are faced with the decision to quit, just be aware of where you are. Are you 3 feet from gold? The reality is sometimes we'll never know. But then also be okay with the fact that if you're quitting to achieve a higher purpose or a higher level dream, that's okay. So kind of two opposites here. I'm telling you, it's kind of confusing. I'm telling you not to quit, but also it's okay to quit in certain circumstances. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say here. But the struggle is guaranteed, the success is not. And so just another mentor of mine, Ed Milet, he talks about whatever the price is, pay it up front, or just be prepared to pay it up front. And if you're okay with the price that you have to pay to achieve your dream, if you set that standard up front and you say, I'm willing to pay this, then you can get through the struggle and then you can reach your goal. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. And yeah, talk to you later.